quite deliberately. We're being targeted as a country. Australia is under economic attack. It's under social attack. And Daniel's right. We're under attack from within. Our state premiers don't understand the Constitution. You've got the Premier of Queensland blaming the feds for the Fraser Island fire, when I read the Constitution and it's Queensland government's responsible for land management. You've got the Queensland government today announcing that Kiwis can come to Queensland again. Well, so what? They can come to Australia. We just can't go there. I mean, there is this complete dearth of proper leadership at the state level that is not helping Australians being united at a time of great international uncertainty.
Well, that's spot on, Gary. This country is under attack from China. We understand they can't feed their people. They're attacking us to show their aggression. They actually need the stuff they're banning from us. Will make it impossible, our barley and food we can send, but they don't care for their people. And so we're physically under attack. And instead of talking about the things that we need to be talking about, like making our defences, our own defence force stronger when we're under attack, what have we got? We've got the higher echelons attacking our own forces. It's got to stop.
Exactly.
We need them. When we should be looking at getting out of those damn submarines and getting something that it can be useful to us. Nobody's going to be waiting around till 2050 to take action against us. And the stronger we are, if you want peace, you prepare for war. But we also need to do things about our economy. You know, we need to, well, I don't know how many times I've been saying this, months, years. We have to give our entrepreneurial class cheap electricity in order that they can again become a manufacturing entity. We've destroyed it by saying, oh, we can bring it around from all over the world and we'll be baristas and serve sandwiches and tea. It's nonsense. And when we're talking about industrial relations law, what are they talking about? You've got one amount of money that you have to pay someone if they're a waiter and putting coffee on the table, but if they answer a telephone to take a booking, well, it's another form of payment they have to make. This is like counting how many angels can sit on the head of a pin. What we've got to get back to is TORs, getting rid of red tape, making sure that the things that impede development are got rid of. But fundamentally, if we don't do something about ensuring that we use our own resources, use our coal, think about using uranium, but coal is here and we've got enough for 300 years to give cheap electricity, then we are not going to give the leadership to the country that we need to survive for our children and children's sake. We have got to make people wake up, which means the boys and girls down in Canberra have got to get their act together.
Well, they do. And, I mean, Caroline, this is really the contention. I'm a real glass half full kind of guy, but I am gravely concerned about the poor leadership. We are so quickly distracted. You've got, you know, the 9 newspapers have cancelled the China propaganda thing. They're telling everyone China's the greatest thing since high bikes. And I'm not attacking Chinese people. I'm talking to the Chinese Communist Party here, who have got a plan to dominate the world. And at the same time, that same organisation runs constant dialogue about Australia as a failure when it comes to, you know, United Nations targets for emission control. I mean, even the Prime Minister being told by the UN, you've got a poor record. You can't speak at an international conference on climate change. Why are we playing these games still, Carolyn? We've got to stand on our own 2 feet. Australia is Australia. Australia is not Europe.
No, we're not Europe. I think that politics has really... we've seen a change in political dialogue, I think, correlative to the change in the news cycle. And I think the news cycle has become quicker and quicker and more disparate, particularly over the last 3 to 4 years. And we do know that Australians have more access to media than ever before, more access to all sorts of, not just mainstream, but also the more unorthodox type media. We know that algorithms affect what people see. And I feel like sometimes the political class, and I don't envy them one bit, but it's like they're trying to put out fires everywhere to try and deal with what is coming through the media. With regards to that particular advertisement that was in the Sydney Morning Herald and I think the AFR. Look, I always start from a freedom of speech and a non-censorship point of view. So the fact that that has been pulled, that fundamentally puts my heckles up, because I think, OK, well, if that's something they'll pull, what else can they pull?
Oh,
but I do see... I know, Bronwyn, let me finish. But I do see from the other point of view that I think we have got to the point where the relationship between the countries has become so heated. And even from the Nine Network point of view, I think they've got to the point where they've gone, there's too much corporate risk associated with this that we do need to remove it. It has become such a broad issue. It has become such a broad issue. And I know that there was a poll in, I think it was the Courier Mail, over 200,000 people responded to the poll, which is not a massive amount, but it's not an insignificant amount. And over 87% said that they would boycott Chinese products at Christmas. So we are starting to see this China issue as becoming really quite a broad community issue. And I think that the Nine Network has recognised that.
No, but Caroline, it's not an advertisement. It is reprinting Chinese Communist Party propaganda. That's not freedom of speech. That is giving the propaganda of an enemy of our country, because we are under attack. And be under no illusions. They see us as a vassal state. They want us to bend our spine so greatly that we'll see our own crutch. That's what they want of us. They want to have us like a modern-day Tibet.
And I mean, I don't want to over-ramp up, but I think we need to see it in that context, Daniel. I mean, you look at the way in which there's been, and I don't know whether the list is right, but 41 Australian wineries, some of them household names. I've got bottles of them in my little wine cellar, my modest little cellar. Apparently now owned by Chinese entities, and I know that some government entities have actually, Australian government and South Australian government entities have been out there encouraging that direct foreign investment. All well and good, but people are now starting to say, well, hang on, if this money that we buy our bottle of our favourite red ends up back in the hands of people who are possibly going to physically or certainly continue to economically attack us, we're not going to buy it. And so this is the market kind of saying, no more, not doing this again.
Yeah, that's exactly right. A lot of Australians have come enlivened to some of the challenges that we face and just how dependent we have become as a nation on China, both for our exports but also for investment. And of course then there's tourism and foreign students on top of that. So we've had the development of a very narrow economic base over the last 10 to 15 years that's made us quite reliant on China and on specific markets within China. So we have kicked a number of own goals. And one of the other own goals that I just wanted to mention, of course, is the Paris Climate Agreement. That exemplifies everything that we're talking about the challenge of China and the failure of our ruling class. Because as you know, under the Paris Climate Agreement, Australia has the deepest cuts to its emissions on a per capita basis in the entire world, whereas China is completely unconstrained. As a matter of fact, Australia has to reduce its emissions by 28%, whereas China will increase its emissions by 150%. So there is no reason for Australia to be kicking these kind of own goals by engaging in these international bureaucratic arrangements that impose significant economic self-harm on Australia. As we know, they make no noticeable difference to the climate, but they also give China a lot of economic and political leverage over Australia. So it's time to stop kicking these own goals.
Yeah, and that really is kind of a very, very nice summation of where we're at right now.